Was it strange to hear him talk of his father's impending death so blithely? For the death of the raven's Lease of Iraden would be the necessary consequence of the instrument's death, and as heir, Mawat would step into his father's place, commit himself to dying when the next raven's instrument died. Mawat's father's rule as raven's Lease had fallen less harshly on the common people of Iraden than it might have, which wasn't to say he'd been particularly generous, or the peasantry noticeably happy during his tenure. But he could have been worse, and a new Lease was an unknown quantity. Accordingly, the people of Iraden generally spoke of Mawat's father only to wish him long life. "You're young enough for that to have been as long as you've been alive." You both rode for a while in silence. Sheep-dotted fields to either side of the road. 2 ravens high above, swooping and soaring, black shapes in the blue of the sky. Mawat frowning as you rode, until finally he said, "Eyolo." You looked at him, your expression wary. "My lord?" I promised I wouldn't pry, but when I'm Lease, I'll be able to ask for things. I mean, anyone can, but there's always a question of whether or not the raven will listen, and there's always a price. The raven will at least hear me out, and my price is already paid, or it will be. I can ask for some extra favors. The raven is a powerful god. He could make it so you could..." He gestured vaguely. "So you could be who you are." "I already am who I am," you snapped. "My lord." And after a few moments of silence, "That's not why I'm here." "No, it's not," replied Mawat, affronted. And then, recollecting himself, "You're here because that's not why you're here." He gave an apologetic smile. "And also because I ordered you out of bed and into the saddle, and you've ridden 3 days without complaining, even though you're not much of a rider, and I know you must be sore by now." After a while you said, "I don't know if that's something I want." "No?" asked Mawat with surprise. "But why wouldn't you? It would be more convenient for you, if nothing else. You wouldn't have to trouble yourself with bindings or hiding anything." And when you didn't answer, "Ah, now I am prying." "Yes, my lord," you said, voice tense, despite the mildness of your tone. Mawat laughed. "I'll stop then. But if you decide, well..." "Yes, my lord," you replied again, still tense. You rode the rest of the way to Vastai, in silence. Vastai is small compared to cities like Kaibul, source of the silk in Mawat's cloak, or far-off Ferrete, that possibly no one in Iraden has even heard of, or Jula for that matter, that wide conquering city in the warm and arid south. Compared to these cities, compared even to Ardvustia across the strait, Vastai is no more than a town. You rode behind Mawat, through the narrow stone-paved streets of Vastai, people in homespun dull greens and browns, and even 1 or 2 in brighter, finer clothing, cleared out of your way, pressed themselves against the yellow limestone walls without a word, looking down at their feet. You would have no cause to realize this, but the streets of the town were far more empty than they ought to have been, given the unseasonably warm, sunny day, given boats in the harbour. Mawat didn't seem to notice. I think he had been tense and uneasy since before you both rode out of the forest, though he concealed it. Now I thought his mood sharpened, his thoughts bent inexorably to his double-edged purpose in coming here, to see his father die.